This is the original paper that came with this soap box. Next, let's talk about our camp cook box. Hello, welcome to Waypoint Survival. Today, I want to show you my 1930s camp kitchen. Stay tuned. The first thing that we're going to set up is this 1920s folding table. And this is the label that's on the underside of the table. Alright, now that we've got this folded out and properly put together, this gives us a place to set our gear, and of course this will be our camp table. The tent that we'll be using is a 1930s Ames canvas tent, also known as an umbrella tent. It's called an umbrella tent because of the way that it goes up. All four corners supported by these ribs, and then a central support which runs all the way down into the floor. The chair is simply an old wooden folding chair. These were very common back in the day, and you can still find them today in secondhand stores and places like that in really good shape. What's nice about them is they're still strong and sturdy. Most of them have been stored inside, and so you'll find them in very decent condition and will hold most adults even in 2024. And of course, to be a proper camp, we have to have a spade, and this is an old railroad spade, an old coal spade, I believe. And this is, of course, because we have a fire. This is to put out the fire or to shovel coals for cooking, anything that we might need, and just in general for digging latrines and camp tasks. As you can see, it's very well made. It's got nice thick iron on it here to protect it from the flames and the heat so that it doesn't hurt the handle any. And for its age, it's in really good condition. This goes by the fire. Next, let's talk about the camp box. Now, this is just an old heavy-duty box. You can kind of see it, something like that. It's got a very heavy-duty handle on it, so it can be easily carried. It also has on the side these boards, so it can be carried two-handed very easily as well. It's fastened with an old brass snap and a heavy hasp. Inside we have a number of items. The very first is a bag that we use. It's just an old, I believe it's a salt or sugar bag, but we're going to use this for a tablecloth. Inside the box, we have a nice axe, hatchet. This is for cutting and splitting firewood. This is an old plum. So we keep that in there. We also have this number 9 never break skillet. Very heavy steel. It's not light like the cowboy skillets, but since we are not backpacking this, a good heavy skillet will do just as well. We also have the mixing bowl that we used for the 1929 hobo biscuits. We have a coffee percolator, butterfly handles on the back, nice bail on the top. Notice that nothing is wood so that it can't burn on the fire. It's all metal. There's the percolator inside. We have some postum in case we run out of coffee or would rather drink this. Some people prefer postum. We have a dish rag and a hand towel. And this comes in very handy when we're making dough. We can cover the bowl with this. Just like that. And that will keep flies and bugs out of the dough while we're cooking biscuits and doing things around the fire. Next, we have an old Bluebird pie plate. This, of course, works as a plate or for anything else you need. Perhaps when we're done with those biscuits, we can put them on here. In a small leather bag, little pouch, we have some sugar and also a very small brass tin of extra lard. This is just a backup to our main small tin that we carry. Just a small tin of lard. And this rides in there, and that's also pocket size, so if you need to travel or take it somewhere, you take a little bit of lard with you. Next, we have our thermos, and you saw this in my coffee video. But this goes back, it's got a patent date of 1914. So this is an old vacuum thermos, and it's still intact in really good shape. It's glass inside, so you got to be careful you don't drop these or treat them roughly. I broke one similar to this, a larger one, when I was a kid. So anyway, great thermos. You can pour your hot coffee in this and take it with you. When you go out scouting or looking around the area, whatever else you want, you can always have your hot coffee with you. The next item that we have in another leather pouch, kept safe where it can't break, is we have a partial jar, a glass jar of honey. And 1 pound pure honey, it says right there. So that comes in really great, especially with some butter and biscuits. Next item is a salt, and you've seen this before on the other video, but it's just plain white salt, nothing fancy to it, in an old cocoa tin. It's a Walter breakfast cocoa. The next item that we have in this peanut butter jar is some powdered milk. We also have our coffee jar, but this time, of course, it's filled with flour with the scoop inside. Well, it's not full. We use it to make biscuits. We do also have a tin of coffee already ground. And this is a nice handy size, so this can slip into a pocket, and that'll be important here in just a little bit. You'll see why. We also have some bouillon cubes, and there are some in here. These are for making a soup taste better, so if we get a rabbit or a squirrel or something like that, it can also help to get our necessary salt intake. We're out sweating a lot and working hard. We have the very small Centennial 1776 to 1876 little jar for lard, and this is the main jar that we carry. It's pretty well empty. I need to fill that back up, but that works really well for carrying lard, enough to make a couple of batches of biscuits. We also have the Rumford baking powder, and I'm fairly sure this is aluminum free, so this is a really good baking powder, works extremely well. And just for emergencies, we have a full can of Van Camp's pork and beans. And because we have a can, we need a can opener. And so this is designed where you just punch through. Right here, you can see that. That punctures through, and then there's a gear that turns, and you open your can of food with this. Interestingly enough, although cans, not exactly like this, but very similar to this, were first invented around 1810. But the can opener didn't arrive on the scene until the 1850s, about the mid-1850s. And so up to then, people opened cans of food with knives, screwdrivers. They even used chisels and hammers, and anything that they could get to get that metal off and dump the food out. So I'm glad that they've finally invented can openers. In the very bottom, we have a large ladle, spoon, for anything we might need that's of a larger size to stir. Next, we have wrapped up in these cloths to keep it from breaking, and these also serve as towels, but also as tablecloths, of course. But we have a shaving mirror, and this is so we can shave. Next, for our camp kitchen, we have a couple of boxes. This is Father John's medicine, Lowell, Massachusetts, and Montreal, Canada. And this is just an old crate, and I have no idea who made it or where it came from. Now, the next item that I want to show you is the other camp box. You saw a little bit of this in the hobo biscuit, the 1929 biscuit recipe, but I'm going to open this up and I'll point the camera down so you can see what exactly is in here. Now, this box is just an old soap box. It's got a latch on the front. We open it up and you can see a little bit better Frank Seidel's soap. And this is the original paper that came with this soap box. Inside, we have a box of Strike Anywhere matches. We also have a number of silverware, spoons, forks, tablespoons, different things that we might need. There's another one down in there. We also have the tin measuring cup, the teaspoon and tablespoon, and then we have a small 2-cup coffee percolator. And this is fantastic for carrying along out in the backcountry. And I showed you that little tin of coffee earlier that's pocket-sized, so that will go along with this. So if we don't want to take the thermos, we can pack this. It's lighter, get water anywhere out of a creek or stream or a lake, make some coffee over some coals, and have hot coffee to drink. And the only thing we need to take besides that would be some sort of a cup, which every good woodsman always carried a tin cup anyway. We also have a number of plates, different sizes, shallow bowl, another tin plate, never have too many plates, wooden spoon for stirring, a grease rag for cleaning and keeping all of our metal items nicely greased so they don't rust, a couple of nice enamelware cups, and again, we could throw this in the haversack or the pack, take that with us for the coffee. And then we simply have a couple of tins, and these are for baking our biscuits in the oven. And yes, we do have an oven. And this is the oven. These were very much used by campers and sportsmen alike back in the day, and it's designed so that it folds, opens up. I'll see if I can do this on camera, put it on the ground and get you a better shot of it. So it opens like this, then these come out like this, and they snap in, and then these snap into the bottom like that. So it looks like this, and then this, which is the cover, this is what holds it up in the back. Now it is sort of fragile, you can't bang it around a lot, but once you get it set securely in front of a fire, then on this shelf is where you put your biscuits, and the heat comes in from the bottom and the top, and you can have some fantastic biscuits. Really makes great biscuits. This is an aluminum reflector oven. Alright, we've got the fire going. We've got the kettle and the mirror hung up for shaving. Tent's all zipped up for the evening. And here is the camp kitchen. box and hatchet underneath. We've got all of our goodies arranged for easy cooking, and a nice bit of table to work on to do all of our baking and cooking needs. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed this little trip into the past, looking at what our ancestors, our forefathers, our grandparents' generation might have used when they were out recreating, camping, hunting, whatever they might do. You might see something very much like this. This is James Bender for Waypoint Survival. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, make sure and check out the links in the description box below, just under the More button. While you're down there, you'll also find our waypointsurvival.com link, and this is where you can sign up to take survival and bushcraft classes at our beautiful training facility in Southern Ohio. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it. And when you do subscribe, make sure and press that bell button so that you can stay notified of all of our upcoming videos, and we'll talk to you next time.